What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and welcome to my review of the Marvel Legends Dan Ketch Ghost Rider. So I'm chilling with my ninjas, and it's a new year. I'm working on my most fun, most unfun, and I remembered that I have this figure and I want to talk about it because I've been asking for this guy for a long time. I got a bunch of cool shit, and this is what you see. And the reviews for Monster Force, which is what's on the screen right now. These are the bad guys, and you're going to see the good guys shortly. I will do kind of like a sit-down style overview about all of them. Same thing with my John Wick Aton Studio set. At some point this year, Street Fighter, I'll be talking about them. Black Ghost and Kensei the Nameless One, I'll be talking about them. But, you came here to hear me talk about Ghost Rider. And you guys know I have a ton to say because Ghost Rider is one of my favorite Marvel characters from since childhood. So let's get it. So in being that this is one of my favorite characters, I have a lot to say. The review itself isn't going to be too long, but I've got a lot of points to cover because at first glance, this is amazing. But then as you compare, contrast, and look at him a little bit longer, then things start to pop out. So let's knuckle up and get into it. Happy New Year, everybody. And welcome to my quick sit-down review of Danny Ketch Ghost Rider from Marvel Legends. Technically, it's a legendary rider, but they've kind of dropped that moniker. I didn't see that on the box, and if it is, forgive me. I don't really care too much about Marvel Legends like I used to, unless it's a character that is a favorite of mine. And Danny Ketch is one of those characters I've been waiting for such a long fucking time, it's ridiculous. Now, somewhere in here I have the classic Marvel Legends one. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to move this aside, and a graphic should show up somewhere over here of the old Toy Biz one. And that's gonna have to suffice for my comparison because I'm not gonna dig through all the old figures to find that. It's a lot. I have a box full of that, and then I have a box with the accessories, and I've put that thing away a while back because if you haven't noticed, over the years my collection has changed a lot, and I've moved away from the focus I once had on Marvel Legends and DC UC Classics. And or DC Universe Classics, not DC Universe Classics. Doesn't even make sense, but I've moved away from those, and I've kind of spread out and started focusing on lots of other things. Like you can see in the background, I've always been a Street Fighter fan. I've got Monster Force over here. Those are the good guys. John Wick, of course. I love my John Wick stuff. And then I've got the bad guys over here, rolling deep with the Forbidden King up there, and Kane from John Wick right here. I'm gonna get to that one day, and I'm gonna be reviewing Monster Force next. So for all of you who might be asking, my first review is gonna be of the year is this Ghost Rider, and my next video is gonna be the most fun and unfun of 24, and then my John Wick 4-pack. From Aton Studio. That thing's awesome. It was expensive, but it was worth it. I'm almost done paying it off. It was one of those things that made me so infinitely happier than I have been with other purchases that I've made, because it's all the stuff that I actually like all in one package. I'm a martial arts movie head. I'm a martial artist's head, and there's lots of martial arts in the John Wick series. Lots of stuntman love in there, and I've grown up knowing who all these stuntmen are. I know who these guys are by name. It's not just, oh, he was in this, he was in... No, I know who these guys are. And unlike a lot of people who watch martial arts cinema, sometimes I'm happier to see who the main character is fighting than I am to watch the main character run around and do stuff. And what I liked about John Wick, and I know this is not a John Wick video, but I'm just throwing it out there, is that we all love Keanu Reeves, but he showed love to all the action heads that came before him, and he gave them prominent parts in his films. Even the original Django from the old cowboy movies back in the day, he's in John Wick 2. You know, he's the concierge for the Rome branch of the Continental. And that's just a little bit of trivia for you guys, but that's how deep this runs. So anyway, you know, I've been focusing on other stuff. I don't focus on Marvel Legends like I once did. I really dug the MCU shit in the beginning, and then it started to kind of fall off for me because it's just too much. I do like stuff that coincidentally my homeboy Luke ended up working on. So it's nice to support. I mean, I know what I'm buying doesn't go to him, but, you know, I love the design work, you know, especially now that I am a designer. It's a different kind of love. It's always been a different kind of love as an artist, but now it's even more so because I understand what it takes to make this shit. But anyway, Ghost Rider, Dan Ketch, beautiful figure, beautiful detailing on him. The bike is the perfect size. It's just, they did a good job. There are some little things that I have issues with, and I'm going to get those out of the way. So let's just jump straight into my problems, issues, and nitpicks. And we're going to start with the bike. Okay. Problems, issues, and nitpicks. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? These are headlights. This is not a battering ram only. It's a headlight. I mean, shit. This is not a battering ram only. This is the front-facing portion of the bike. Why did you forget the headlights? You know? I've been reading Ghost Rider since back when this bike and this Dan Ketch Ghost Rider first appeared. Javier Saltares was the artist, and he kind of started things off. And I love this look. I love that era of Ghost Rider. But there's a couple things that, you know, on top of what I just pointed out on the bike, they got the wrong stature for Dan Ketch as Ghost Rider. So he's supposed to be tall, broad shoulders, and kind of on the I don't want to say he's muscular, because they always call him skinny, because technically he's supposed to look like the bones are holding up this costume, you know? And so what I don't like, the hell, I guess I gotta aim up a little bit. Hold on, let me do that. One of the things I don't like about the stature of this figure is that he's small. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't be, like I shouldn't be that close to his height. He feels small. I don't know if that makes sense. So I went and I grabbed my Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And this is my gripe. You know, I've always complained about the reuse thing, but it's like Blaze is bigger than him, but when they're both Ghost Rider, they should be similar in size. And I'm going to find a frame from the book to show you what I'm talking about, because a lot of characters end up looking up at Ghost Rider. They're not looking down at him, or they're not looking at him directly in his face. Even Spider-Man. I remember shots of Spider-Man looking up while talking to Ghost Rider. So it feels like he should be closer to this height than this height. Like his head should be up here. You know what I mean? His shoulders should be up here. He should be along the lines of maybe, let me see if I got a character who is the right size. I think this is more along the side. I know NECA toys typically are a little bit taller, but I would imagine Dan Ketch would be around this height. And then Ghost Rider would be more around this height. So that's my nitpicks. Little things like, why is it that on both of these figures they still don't have butterfly joints, even though in this day and age most Marvel Legends have butterfly joints? Why is it that he didn't really come with anything? In the books, His whip or his chain takes many shapes. Sometimes it'll be straight like a crowbar or staff. Sometimes it'll split up into little shards like throwing stars and cut up things. Other times, it'll wrap around people. With all the Spider-Man that come with webs that you can put and wrap around people, it's kind of a shame that he didn't come with any of that. Or like, why isn't it a real chain? The chain that I have around Johnny Blaze is the chain from the OG Toy Biz, Ghost Rider. Clearly, the chain is a real chain. Why aren't we getting this kind of stuff with Marvel Legends? They're more expensive than they ever were, and the sculpts are getting better. So why not go all the way and give us, accessories that make sense? You know what I'm saying? That like look the part. I don't know. That's the area where I'm disappointed in. But overall, that's all I have to say about my nitpicks and everything else. So let me talk about what I like about this figure. So now we're in our kind of a lightweight let's compare mode. You see him next to the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider that we got before all the re-releases that kind of aped the Dan Ketch look. I put him on the Legendary Riders Punisher bike, just for comparison's sake. But this looks great. The bike is nice. It's bigger than what we got previously with Toy Biz. It's more on model than a lot of the other things. You can see like they stretched out things and fixed the proportions of the bike to make it fit more of the look that we've seen in the comics. I love it. With except for the things I pointed out that are problematic. I mean, it's nearly perfect, and this is what bugs me. They even got the gas cap. It's like, what? Like, you paid attention like you were supposed to. As far as the figure goes, the sculpt for the head is pretty nice. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a reuse of a previous version, but I don't care. It's a skull. It's on fire. You even got a little bit of articulation in the jaw, which is pretty nice, and I'll go over that in the articulation section. But yeah, it looks good. A little bit of wash. Oh yeah, open mouth. There it is. But here's the whole body. Everything looks the part. They got every little detail. The spikes are in the right places. The chain is in the right place. Like, it drapes the right way. I'm never gonna not point out that that should have been a real chain, because you could go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something and get a real chain for pennies on the dollar. That makes no sense. But here's a little detail that not many of the Ghost Rider figures actually have, and I like that they did this. And it's the little chain. It's technically it's a pocket chain. I mean a wallet chain, but they connected it to the belt, and there were books early on, definitely when Javier Salterez used to draw him, and definitely in a lot of Mark Texeria's artwork, he had that. And then another thing that they did that not too many people pay attention to is that the design, the lower half of the design is asymmetrical, and they did it. Articulation is standard Marvel Legends stuff. You got the bald peg for the head. Jaw opens up. You've got a nice little bit of range. Some of the flames kind of get in the way when it comes to how much or how little you can actually articulate the head. There's a little bit of room for like a tilt, kind of like the creepy stuff he does in Spirits of Vengeance, the second Ghost Rider film. You can kind of see it here. It's a little bit, I put it more on display in the next image. You can kind of tilt it. The flames on his neck and the flames on his head kind of get in the way of each other. That's him looking down, believe it or not. He's pretty much just looking forward. He can look up that much. And then as far as the articulation on the body, it's pretty standard. He can't do anything like extreme, but Ghost Rider is not an agile character. So like, he just needs to be able to crunch a little bit, have a little bit of the ability to lean back, things like that. And he's got the standard boots cut and boot swivel. So, people would be cool with just the bike. And they did go a little bit further than that to take off the pieces that were connected to the Toy Biz bike and make them accessories for this bike, as well as a handful of accessories for Ghost Rider himself, and one to kind of put the bike in action. So, it kind of looks like you get a whole lot. But in reality, these were all parts of like the fire. They were parts of the wheels. You know what I mean? Parts of the sculpt of the wheels. They just literally cut the wheels out of it. So it's one of those things. It depends on how you look at it. The bike stands on its own really well, but it is nice that we do have some accessories. I, for one, would have liked some other things, but we'll go into it. So the bike could be considered an accessory with Ghost Rider because the two of them go together. And then, of course, Ghost Rider himself has the chain wrapped around his chest and the whip. I mean, you'd think they'd give him more. He does have an extra hand. And if you have, other old Marvel Legends, then technically you have black fists, like a clean black fisted glove that you can actually use for the opposite hand because he only has one fist. Um, I don't know. To me, it's dumb. But anyway, he can hold the whipping hand, the chain whipping hand, and those are also the gripping hands for the bike itself. I mean, he looks good. I would have liked either a real chain or a bendable whip. I mean, again, I took it off of the Toy Biz one and put it on the very first Johnny Blaze that we got from Modern Marvel Legends. But I mean, come on, look at that. By now, this is what you guys should have been demanding. And look at it. It's the right scale and everything. It really sets the figure off and it makes him look a little bit more than just a regular domestic kids toy. He looks premium. You know what I mean? And, at this point, with this is a $50 figure. Do you really think that that's $50 worth of toy you got in that box? If you do, I mean, there's not much else to say. But, when you use everything all together, it looks great. Um, I love the idea of the flames either traveling with him or the ground melting beneath the heat of these Hellfire infused wheels. It's always been a dope visual. It's one of the things that I really love about Ghost Rider is just visually he's such a cool looking character. And you can use those different ways if you want. And again, the detail on the bike is awesome. The speedometer, all of the little, gauges and everything are there, and the gas cap. And then here's another detail. So the foot pedals, you can move them, or foot rests, you can move them either closer to the body, like or to the center, like a crotch rocket, or you can put them further forward, kind of like a Fat Boy or a Cruiser, so that it looks like the multiple ways that some artists like to draw this bike. The bike is a crotch rocket. It sits low, but the design of it, the body, it's a crotch rocket. But anyway, and then you have this piece here. It can allow for a wheelie. It makes the thing look like it's in action, like it's jumping, and it's pretty stable. And there's a lot of other things you can do with it. For me, I think it's the best part because, look what it can do. I mean, there's just no contest. It's easily the best part. But anyway, now for the bottom line. This is my favorite part because I get to just go over how good or how bad or how mediocre something might be. This is a pretty dope figure on a scale of meh to amazing. It's somewhere between, meh and amazing, because it hits all the parts that we want. And for those of us who are fans of 90s Ghost Rider, this is what we've been wanting for a very long time, very long time. I don't even understand why they've been ignoring us. I've been reading Ghost Rider since I was a preteen. I want to say I was 12. It was shortly after I started reading this right after Batman 89. So like, yeah, for people who, this was my first Ghost Rider figure right here. I want to say this came out in the early 90s. I remember getting it. It was like 10 bucks. The cycle shoots these discs. It was the cycle and the figure. Here's a picture of the cycle and the figure, courtesy of Figure Realm. I think this might be a slightly different one, but that was the figure I had for a long time. I could never find the like standard Ghost Rider or the quick change one that was Dan Ketch and you put some stuff on him and then he's Ghost Rider, which I got a picture of right here. So I just rocked with the one that came with the bike I had, and it was so much fun because that thing was so durable and the figure was durable as hell. Then I got the Toy Biz one, and that was fun too because, even though it wasn't perfect, it was the look. And now to see it evolve into this, that part's nice. Now I can have him team up with other Midnight Suns members, mainly Blade, because, I'm a huge Blade fan. The Midnight Suns was kind of my shit back in the day. So, getting the main members, like, can we get some Night Stalkers, please? But getting the main members is pretty cool. I'm still waiting for them to do like legit Johnny Blaze. You know what I mean? Not Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider, but just Spirits of Vengeance, Johnny Blaze with the trench coat and the gun, and the shades and the messy hair. Like, where's he at? But, till then, he'll be teamed up with Blade and the other members of like the Marvel Knights / Midnight Suns. I guess this would be the Marvel Knights lineup from the early 2000s. With, Doctor Strange thrown in there to make it look more Midnight Suns-ish. But, this is a great figure. They did a good job. They were able to kind of capture the things, they hit the marks, for those of us who don't want to spend the insane amounts of money that the Mezco goes for. But, that's going to do it for me. I think this figure is amazing. I would give it somewhere in between a B and maybe a C plus, something like that, C plus or a B. But yeah, it's a good figure. If you get a chance to get it for the 50 bucks that it goes for or less, do it. If you see it for more, ignore it. Just wait for the next thing, because there will be a next release. This is Hasbro we're talking about. Now they got this mold. They're going to keep on making more versions of it and charging you different rates for whatever they do next. Or wait for PC Toys to do one, or go on AliExpress or one of those places and look for any of the million different Ghost Riders that are on there. I mean, unfortunately, most of them are Johnny Blaze, but they come with pretty nice bikes in many cases, especially when they have the movie Hell Cycle. So, keep that in mind. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys have been great. Peace outside.